Roll call, Joe Leclerc, here. Jim Barber, here. Joey Barron.
Yep.
Steve DeBrey.
Yes.
Bill Chase, here. Diane Barber, you here?
Here, yeah.
Okay. All right. Got Ed Carey from Good Energy. He's gonna address the board here tonight in regards to possibly saving us some money on our electricity. You're up, Ed.
All right. Thank you very much for having me this evening. It's a beautiful day and a lot of struggle getting out here. A lot of inclement weather downstate, but I'm here. But what I want to talk to the board and general public as well is two programs that I'm going to talk about. First is going to be regarding the municipality with your infrastructure. It's going to be with your town hall or whatever properties have all your consolidated utility bills. I'd like to take a look at that. And again, if you can sign this so I can look at this is not a contract. I'm not here for a contract. I'm here to give you a proposal. That's all it is. I will submit it to the supervisor and then he can distribute it out to the council if you want to move forward on that. Basically, when I got there a little bit earlier, currently is the township on a contract whatsoever with electricity?
I just replaced Debbie when she's on vacation.
No,
Okay.
we got an ISEC.
So we have NICEAG.
ISEC, yeah.
So basically that NICEAG is, as you all know, is a utility. And so the utility's role is basically to deliver power. When you open up your bills or anything, there's three components on that bill. You have the transportation, the distribution, and then the supply portion. The utility is responsible for the transportation and distribution. They are not responsible for the supply. The supply is a pass-through to the customer, and that's why every single month you have your peaks and valleys. It goes up and down. New York State is a deregulated state, so you can actually lock in your supply. As you probably know, I'm assuming that you receive phone calls from these different ESCOs and stuff like that saying, oh, we can save you money and that type of stuff. Some of it's good, a lot of it's bad, as we all know. The other program I want to talk about is New York State is a seventh state to have adopted a new program just about a year and a half ago called Community Choice Aggregation, CCA. I'll give you a little bit of background on myself. I've been doing energy since literally the day I was born. My great-grandfather worked for Shell in the 1800s. My grandfather started a very large energy company. My dad still runs a refinery, and I've done every aspect of within the energy business. And I've worked for several different municipalities. So my career sort of went with my family. Then I worked for the city of New York. I did all their purchasing for electricity and natural gas. And then my biggest supplier back then for the city of New York was Hess. And I went and worked for Hess for several years. And then I joined into a company about 15 years ago called Good Energy. So I've been with this company for a very long time. Good Energy is a national company. We are in 5 cities. We're about 100. We're just over 100 person firm. We're in Boston, headquarters in New York City, Peoria, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, and LA. We probably cover. I'd say go back about 10 years ago. We do large industrial and commercial customers. I was really the brick and mortar of the company. And then 10 years ago, we got to meet Edison, New Jersey. We did all of their electric needs, demand response, electricity, natural gas. That then morphed into the state. In the state of New Jersey, we met a gentleman named Pat Moran, who was the Education Service Commission of the state of New Jersey. And we took on 275 municipalities with the state, Board of Education's, colleges, you name it. And then from there, we started to go west into Illinois, and we manage over 300 municipalities there in the state of Illinois. I'm contracted, probably have over 2 million customers for doing their electric, natural gas, and demand response, and then some of their lighting stuff. But in the state of Illinois, it was an interesting place. That's where we got introduced to Community Choice Aggregation, CCA. And when we got involved in the state of Illinois, about 15% of the state was buying their electricity with this type of program. We found it to be unbelievable, and we thought we had a lot of it. Now, as of today, as we speak, 97% of the state of Illinois buys their power in this type of fashion. And it's brought over $207+ million back into the state of Illinois. That sent out a big light to all around the country. And at that time, Audrey Zimmelman was head of the Public Service Commission for the state of New York. She actually sought us out, came down to New York City and said, all right, what's going on? How'd you do this? What's the secret sauce? about that. She then brought it back to Albany. She said, I want this in the state. Then they brought it into Albany, and it sort of passed. During that time period, they wanted to start slow, and Westchester County was able to benefit of it. Westchester County is the only place where they're doing it in the state. So you have places like White Plains, New Rochelle, Pleasantville. I think there's about 135,000 people on this program now in the county of Westchester. There. Dutchess County got a little angry and said, we want this program too. This is crazy that we're state residents, like why are they benefiting and we can't? So then they actually helped lobby for this to go statewide. And then in January of 17, the statewide order came out and said, everyone can now do this. So now we've been going around the state promoting this. And during that time period, we go to all the big conferences, if it's NISAC, or if it's NICOM, or if it's AOT. We help form this buying collective group called NIMET. And it's AOT and NICOM have come together and they form NIMET. And we run it for the two organizations. And with that, AOT is their membership, I think, is about 950 municipalities that are members of the AOT, and then NICOM has about close to 600 municipalities. And so collectively, we're representing probably over close to 1,500 municipalities of buying energy. I'm just curious, you are members of AOT.
Yeah, AOT, Association of Towns, yes.
And do you buy your insurance through them, through NIMET?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
A lot of municipalities do that. This is sort of the model that we sort of formed from NIMET. All these different municipalities around the state have all come together, and then they go out and they buy these large insurance packages. It's sort of somewhat like that, the model. Buy in bulk, you get a discount, basically the Costco theory. Again, we've done this. We're very active in the state of Illinois. We have plus like 200 plus to 300 plus municipalities. Massachusetts, we have probably 90 as of today. California, we're doing big parts of LA. New Jersey, again, we have 30 CCA communities doing this, and then on the municipal side, we have over 200. So coming here today, you are not a guinea pig to us whatsoever. We've literally done this 1,000 times. So, and in the state of New York also right now, there's only 2 companies actually that have been their implementation been passed by the Public Service Commission, and we're one of them. Again, we're a national company, and I'm sorry I piled it going back and forth between the 2 programs. But doing the municipality program for this would take me about a week to put together. And again, I'm just going out and getting bids and seeing if we can get a fixed cost below what you've been paying for the last 12 to 24 months. My objective is to go back and see if I can beat that price of what you've been paying. I'm not going to come back here with a proposal and say, oh, I got 3% or 5%. I find that to be a risk, and I would never put that in that position. Also, I work for AOT and NICOM, and they are unbelievably are brand protective of their name. They represent municipalities all throughout the state, and we love that endorsement. We would never risk ever not have that endorsement, so we would never try to put you in any kind of at-risk type contract. But with this type of program, I'll get about 20 bids or something like that, or 15. With the CCA program, the numbers are literally 20 times larger. So I would not really come back in the CCA program. I'll probably come back with 4 to 5 bids. When you go out and you buy power, and this goes back about 15, 20 years ago when Enron was around, you could just go out and get a contract. Now the law basically says you have to have double the amount of money in the bank to go out and actually do a physical hedge. So if we're buying power here, this is probably $200,000 to $300,000 of power. I have to have $900,000 in the bank to do a hedge. This program, we're going to be buying power in probably 20, 15 million range, so you have to have about 80 million in the bank to do a physical hedge. Not too many companies have that type of cash, so only about 4 come to the table. Our objective here is, with the municipality, you can do this on your own, and right now you don't have an energy budget, you're going on what NICEAG sort of gives you, it's pass-through. We would like to come back and hopefully beat that number. The community choice aggregation stuff is, I'm up here recruiting this program, because your next door neighbors are moving forward with this president right now. Plattsburgh is moving forward. Jay-Z is moving forward. I just met today with Champlain. They're looking at it. They said they're going to be bringing up their counseling. I'll probably come back up here and have to give, to speak to their council. But I've spoken to the supervisor and one of his council people this afternoon in their office. They like the idea. They've spoken to their neighbors and they say they've heard of it and everything else. It was an introduction. That is where it's it's a numbers game. Plattsburgh has 20,000+ residents. We'd like to have you piggyback off of that contract. Energy is a common good. It's like water. I mean, it doesn't it's not a Republican, it's not a Democrat thing. It's just a common good, and it's a numbers game that we're trying to get collectively put together. Now, going back to when I was mentioning that we've all heard of these ESCOs come out, and so we've heard about their horrible behavior and saying like, oh, you get that phone call and saying, I guarantee this, and like you get the $50 Visa card in there, you cash it, and then there's a little thing at the small at the contract that no one reads, and you get that, and you read it, you go forward, and 3 months down the line, your bills are double to triple. Anyone who's on a fixed income type thing, that's damaging. They no longer can pay their bill, and you're also paying 3 times the market rate that is what we are offering, and what CCA is, and how we run our bids is it's a municipally endorsed program, and I do not have a contract. There is no contract. So anyone can enter this program or exit the program at any time, and I do not have a contract. A lot of we go out and we give these type of presentations, people say, oh, this is Big Brother. You're forcing us to do this. I'm like, God, that's completely wrong. I'm not forcing anyone to do anything. I do not have a contract. So I cannot go out and say, you left the program, now I get to penalize you. That's false. I don't have a contract. I have nothing to enforce. So with these programs have worked very well throughout the state, and there's proof of that, and it's been working out very well nationally, and there's a lot of proof about that. To move forward, you would have to pass a local law, and I have a template here. Obviously, your municipal attorney will, however they would like to have that read. But I just brought a template up here, and then I will also distribute this out electronically to everyone, so they will have it. The other things aspect, I don't know if every municipality is different, every charter is different, every government is different. I don't know if you have a sustainability issue, if you want to maintain that, or we can make this there could be a green initiative attached to it. Some people like that, some municipalities don't care about it. We can present it both ways.
How many residents you got in Clinton County on board with this program right now?
Plattsburgh is
Clinton County, just.
Clinton County, I would have to say Plattsburgh is 20,000, and then Jay-Z's.
But you don't have 20,000 people in Plattsburgh, do you?
There's the residents there that household.
Adopted this program that are on board with you, with this.
I have the supervisor, Michael Jason, said they're moving forward with it.
But nobody's on board that actually took this yet.
No, this is a new program.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my question, was how many people are on board? Anybody?
As of today, 0.
Okay.
Yeah. No, this is around the state, you have Syracuse moving forward.
Yeah, I see
Buffalo moving
your
forward. That's all Illinois, like that, those townships. Albany's doing it again, Westchester's already active. That's an active program that we're running. And then all the other state, the other big load run is now getting interested. Again, we're here just to get the local law passed so we can look at numbers. It's a chicken and the egg type deal. I cannot, by law, I'm regulated by the Public Service Commission, so I am not allowed to look at anyone's information without your permission. And again, once we get the local law passed, I submit that to the Public Service Commission, and then we try to do a proposal. I'm not getting anyone's bank account, I'm not getting names, I'm getting load information, that's all I'm getting. I'm not getting anyone's personal information. I have no clue if people pay their bills, not pay their bills, whatever like that. The utility just gives us the load data, we analyze it, we try to sit it through a fit, and then we try to incorporate that with the surrounding townships.
So what are some possible loopholes that could be out there for NICEAG to counterbid or do something where they could charge us a surcharge or anything like that?
Nope, the utilities actually support this. They like this because they're not. The utility doesn't lose a single dime on this. Not even.
Okay.
The utility makes 100% of their profit on the transportation and the distribution of the power. They own the lines, they own the pipe in the ground. That's all their infrastructure. So they make all their money delivering the power. The supply portion, that's just passed through. They don't. It's illegal in the state of New York for a utility to make money off the supply portion. They don't make a dime on it. They don't care what the price is. They just deliver. People I try to explain to, they said, like, an example I got into is like, you go to Florida and you forgot your eyeglasses at a restaurant. And that restaurant is kind enough to put it in a brown box and then what's that brown box? That brown box is called UPS. They're a delivery service. They put your eyeglasses in there and they don't own your eyeglasses, you own the eyeglasses. And then just deliver it to your home. That's a utility. Utility picks it up and delivers it.
So any issues in the future with storms or loss of power, broken telephone pole, it's still a NICEAG?
100%. They're a service company. They make money on maintaining their infrastructure. They do not make money on the supply.
So we're still paying NICEAG for a delivery charge, we're just gonna pay you for a supply charge.
No. NICEAG is still, they call it POR, price of receivables. And NICEAG does all the financials for this. They collect all the money, they collect everything. NICEAG actually, they pay us. At the end of the day, all you're doing is, you're writing a check to NICEAG, that's all you're doing.
So basically, you're just a wholesaler of power.
Basically.
Okay, so let's clarify. You said you made this proposal to Plattsburgh. Was that the town of Plattsburgh or the city of Plattsburgh? Big difference in the rates.
Town of Plattsburgh.
No, he didn't. No, we didn't.
I've only been up here for townships, I've not.
Okay.
He's in Michael's Cashman, so it's the town.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't been to villages yet here in Clinton.
Or city, you haven't been to the city.
I have not. I've been up in Clinton County, it's probably my 6th time up here since January. And I've been to Chazy twice, I've been to Plattsburgh twice, I've been to Champlain. And then I went to the town supervisors meeting about 2 months ago, I guess it was.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
A
so there
little
was
longer than that.
about 15 people on there.
Okay.
And, some
This
people.
proposal costs us nothing, right?
That's what he said.
Again, I'm giving a proposal. I'm not
There you go.
getting a contract. This is just a proposal.
Yeah, you come back and with the proposal and then we say yay or nay. Okay,
All right?
all right.
I appreciate your time. Supervisor, I will send this electronically, and I'll send it to you as well. You can please distribute it out to the council people.
I can present it to me, I'll get it out to everybody.
All right.
Okay?
All right. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For the rest of the night.
Headed to Montreal, check. All right, let's move on to business. MX Fuel lock-in agreement for 2018-2019. Their price they've said is $1.34, basically $1.35 per gallon for propane. That's gone up from $1.50 it's, well,
It's cheap.
it's cheap.
Yes.
I mean, you go get propane at, just go fill a 20-pound tank and line out, it's almost $3 a gallon.
So you say if you change companies, then they're gonna come back, they're gonna prorate that, they're only gonna give you a certain percentage
Yeah, I
of
agree
the
with you.
propane that you got. And
Yeah, I think you should just stay with what we got until it gets to the point where it's just getting stupid in the prices, but I think it's gonna
Okay, so, well, we need a motion just, to lock in at, 2018, 2019, propane price of $1.34.9.
make that motion,
I'll second it.
stay in that $1.39 with MX fuels for July 1st.
Okay, Jim Parker made the motion, Joey seconded it, all in favor? Aye. Okay, next thing is concerning our, little visit from, DEC at the Lime Mountain Sewer District wastewater treatment plant. Heard on, July 31st. I don't think it was, that's the date, but that was later.
Yeah, I was third in the letter. So it must have been before then, they made the visit.
Oh, I was there.
7:31.
Didn't do it wrong.
Certification says August 2nd. He dated it when Wade signed it was August 3rd, Bill, we get all the dates in there.
I know, but it just seemed, doesn't seem like that was the date, I don't know.
Well, you know, please put private plan by August 22nd, so that'd be early enough.
I don't know, I just,
So
it's
you
2 weeks ago, basically, that's true, that's true, that's the date of that.
So there's corrections been made.
Yeah, I read the letter there from,
Well, Donnie,
Lonnie, when he addressed all the problems.
he's addressed all the problems,
Yep.
but it, shows the seriousness of, lack of accountability out there in regards to this, this job. And we need to make some changes in regards to being, whoever holds the job, being more accountable to the entire town. Because, some of these things, like the trees growing, are better than 10 feet high. So that's, 3-4 years of a poplar tree to get that high.
It's definitely a systemic issue over time, you know that about that.
And there's just, there's some things that,
Unfortunately.
you know, it's an eye-opener for us, the way I look at it. I mean, the job is, and some of the things that, we've been doing is, we're not supposed to have been doing. I've been told that, like Bill Donahue is, we're working under, with his license right now, and he's supposed to be 10 hours a month under, actually, where somebody else is working under him. He's supposed to be on site 10 hours a month. They allow 30 hours a quarter, so.
Because they're requiring that you have a chief operator and an assistant.
Right.
Because of the size of this.
But they allow, because of, you know, the availability of people who actually know how to do these jobs, pass the test. We're not the only town that's, in this situation. There's plenty of them out there that operate the same way. But, because this job has never been really, it's only been one person up there. And Bill has agreed to, you know, stay on and, because they pointed out and, that Sandy is not supposed to be there without that kind of supervision.
Right.
So is Donahue and Dernan, are they satisfied with holding on until we come to a conclusion of what we're gonna do?
They are, but, well, most of that we are gonna have to go in executive session and talk about later. But
For the time being.
for the time being, yes. So. Just for the general public, just to know, we've been given an unsatisfactory rating in addition to lack of certified operators. Several other deficiencies were identified. One of the 2 air blowers was found to be out of service. The phosphorus treatment was found to be turned off. It's unclear why this component was not operating. Eastern clarifier, I don't know how you say that word. Weirs
Yeah.
were not overflowing. It's not clear why this was the case. And the cause of the problems should be investigated and fixed as soon as possible. The wastewater operator did not appear to have the correct buffer solutions that would be required to properly calibrate the pH meter. Calibration of instrument is a requirement. Well, the town needs to develop a plan to staff the WWTP position. This plan should outline, be staffed interim until the town can meet all of our regulations that they, under Part 65 or 650 regulations, which include the members of the maintenance personnel who are working at the plant and the hours that they'll be available. Please provide this plan by no later than August 22nd, 2018. Just to let you people that are out there in the meeting, the failed blower motor has been repaired, and reinstalled, and it's now operational. The inoperable phosphor treatment system, they'll leave that system off based on recommendation and additional phosphorus sampling performed by Endyne. Based on the results of those tests and further conversations with the DEC, we'll determine the use of that system. All the trees growing in the reed beds have been removed and the reed bed is operational. Concerning the operation of the Eastern clarifier during your visit, the return activated sludge flow was high enough to cause this condition. Further investigation confirmed this through evidence found in the treatment plant and the O&M manual. Additionally, Bill has observed that the clarifier worked properly while RAS pumps were not operating, as they are controlled by timers. Upon review, number 5, concerning the pH meter, we had a 7.5 buffer solution on site. Additional 4.0 to 10.0 buffer solutions have been ordered and are due to arrive tomorrow. Lastly, and most important, he has agreed to work as the chief plant operator effective August 1st. And he will continue in that capacity until the town reaches other arrangements and will follow the conditions of 6 NYCRR 650 as interpreted by DEC Technical and Operational Guide Series. He's completed the July operating report and will submit any other required documentations to you with the assistance of Mr. Chris Beer from your department this week. We've got Bill Durden on as an assistant. Okay, and part of that, what we found going on up there, the generator report, that, you guys, you saw the pictures I sent. That generator room was basically a fire hazard also. There was diesel fuel on the floor, actually where they load the diesel fuel into the tank. That was a mess left by the Griffith. I had a conversation with them. We got that all cleaned up. I made Butch aware of that room, what's going on in there. I'm not sure if Billy Dernan and Bill Donahue have cleaned out the paint cans, and there was found a snow blower in there. It was just pretty much in disarray. And we brought in Warren from Kingsley, who got the generator operating again. There's I think something else that's needed to be replaced, the battery, the block heater. Put it on, block heater. So, that was taken care of.
That's Kinsley doing that up there?
Yeah, that was who was on there.
You get your wife down there as a contact, I got to be changed though.
My wife.
Yeah, it says contacted, there's your wife's name on there, it's got to be changed.
That's because it came up on her name comes up on the phone.
Okay, maybe, yeah, color it.
That's the caller ID, I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
Okay. Another issue actually in Lime Mountain over on, I think it was Friday morning at the Iron Ore Market. There's a holding tank in the back of that store. And then what it flows into is some kind of tank in the front of the store. And then we pump it back into the holding tank. On recommendations from Lloyd, Charlie Moore, it can be rectified by eliminating these pumps that we've been using because they have been faulty throughout the years, and just go with the gravity feed. So I've got the wear coming up actually take a look at what it would entail to get this where we don't have them pumps anymore. They fail all the time, and it's $2,500 to replace them. They had no, there was no bathroom at the gas station on Friday, and I think sometime over the weekend. Does anybody got any problems with bringing in Ware? And Andy Chase was always against it. For some reason, it flows to the front of the building, and we pump it to the back of the building.
Make any sense?
No, because
I don't recall we got any pumps up there.
there's pumps.
There's issues with that when they built that as a car wash. And there's lines underneath that building, but if we ever have to deal with those lines, that would always go back to the owner of the store. I'd go underneath that diner. That used to be the car wash. Those are in our minutes of the meetings from years ago when that got established. But I don't recall any pumps being up there.
Yeah, so we got a pumping station for that. Yeah, we operate this pumping station.
I'd like to see that.
We couldn't find the keys to the breakers or whatever. Billy Joe had to cut off the locks. And
The breakers are inside the store?
no, they're outside the building, everything's on, there's a meter there.
We have a down meter there?
Yeah. Yeah,
All right, a couple of us, few of us, we should take a look at that.
so, I'll hear from Ware and,
Yeah, somebody's got to deal with it. If we can gravity flow, then let it go.
yeah, I mean,
There you go.
yeah, it's right there where it's everything. I mean, the bathrooms and their sinks are probably 10 feet away from the holding tank. Andy refused to let them change it. Lloyd Boogie and both Charlie Moore says that's what needs to be done. Because they've had an issue with them pumps for years. And there's one of them right now, it costs $2,500 to replace it.
We haven't heard that in the last 4 or 5 years in here.
I know, we haven't, but
The village was working down there by Dollar General too the other day. They had pumps out, so you got to look for them guys yet?
no, on what, sewer system?
Yeah. Yeah, those guys are down there working, they had one of the pumps pulled out in the ground.
No, haven't heard it.
Someone could be coming forward on that, I'm sure.
No, okay. So everybody's good with Ware coming in to check things out, at least, and tell us.
You gonna look at that tomorrow again, Jim?
I'd like to go up and see what's going on there. Let me know when he's doing.
All right.
I'd like to go up and take a look. I never knew that even existed up there.
And you?
Me neither. I just,
No idea that there was pumps up there in front of the gas station.
I guess there's 2 pumps to this.
What are they down in the manhole?
Yeah, in the front of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, supposedly it flows out to the front, we pump it back to a holding tank.
I would just go out the front, let it go.
Like nobody else, it sounds crazy the way it was all set up. It might be having to do, yeah, like you said.
Debbie, pull some prints up of that before we go up there so we look at that. Because there's issues that.
Debbie ain't around.
She's gonna be back though, eventually. Here, Mike.
Yeah, but we gotta solve this issue.
Oh, I understand, yeah, but
Yeah, but she ain't gonna be around all week, I don't believe, right?
You could tell me where to look them up, I don't mind looking them up.
yeah, let me know when you go out there and see.
Or, you should talk to Lloyd too.
He's been around longer, you would
Right.
know what's going on.
Yeah.
Lloyd's been around long enough, he knows where that line goes underneath that diner.
569-1999. Write his number down, you can call him, you know,
1999?
Yeah, 1999.
yeah. Get what you can out of him. And when Ware comes up,
Let me know when Lower.
yeah, all right. Okay,
You need a motion for Lower to perform that work?
What he's gonna do,
no,
what's he gonna do, just pull bumper?
no, he's
Inspect
gonna,
it?
he's gonna look to see what we can do to make it gravity feed.
Right. He's not doing any work, he's just gonna like,
He might dig a hole, and he's gonna have to. Because there's something, Patrick at the Iron Ore Market today said something about a 4-inch line going into a 3-inch line. I don't know, or a 3-inch line going into,
We should do something, just to cover us, if he has to dig something or something, or he cuts into something and.
So, one of us need, or some of us need to go up there and look at that with him prior to him breaking asphalt in that parking lot.
No, he's not, everything's gonna be behind the building, not, nothing, he's not gonna touch the asphalt. All his work is gonna be behind the building.
Somebody should be looking at it before prior to day.
And here, I'll give you another guy to talk to that can explain it maybe better than what I am, Charlie Moore. He's, more than willing to talk. Jean, Joe's sister called me today, she might have a tank that needs to be, her holding tank might need to be emptied. Charlie Moore is 572-3569.
So Charlie's been there and pumped that before, apparently.
Yeah, and he's helped Lloyd in regards to when they've had pump problems there. Because I sent Lloyd a text. He said the one in the front is a pit that has pumps in it that pumps the waste to the septic tank in the back. I asked if those pumps can be eliminated and just have the bathroom and the deli sink be gravity fed to the tank. He responded, sure thing. So, that's where we sit. We'll just, before we have aware, they're probably gonna dig something up in the back and I don't know if they can.
You should have passed a motion to cover some of the expenses of him dropping
Well,
equipment.
Yeah, okay, let's,
Just to cover it.
all right, I'll make the motion that, where it's hired.
Well, I'll make the motion for the outcome of the investigation of the, what do you call the store again?
Iron Ore Market.
Iron Ore Market sewer, that any expenses incurred for this situation will be approved.
Second.
Roll call vote. Joe?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Joey?
Yep.
Steve? Bill? Yes. Okay.
So is it okay that I put motion by Bill Chase? 'Cause you
No,
said-
motion by Joey.
Okay, so I'll cross, because you said it first.
Yeah,
he
he
took
took
over.
all coming from me. Yeah.
Okay, so it's Joey Barron and Joel Leclerc,
Yep.
second,
Just to cover the type of incremental
and
expenses that.
everybody said aye.
Yeah. Roll call vote. Okay.
Okay, I feel better with that.
All right, I'd like to change we're supposed to have another meeting next week and move it to the 29th. I've got to take Robin to Boston for an appointment on the 23rd. We got to leave on the 22nd. Anybody got any problem with that?
No. That's good.
Actually, 22nd, and
29th is better.
We got a big executive visit on 22nd.
All right, so it's good. So I'll make the motion. We change the August regular meeting from the 22nd of August to 29th of August at 6 o'clock.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, Health Department violations, Ledger's Corners and Chazy Lake Beach. Health Department came up last week and they went with Martha Chase, our water operator for both those areas, and they came back with a boil water order at Chazy Lake because we had a 1 micron filter in there, not a 1 micron absolute, but the chlorine levels were good. They issued a boiled water order. Martha's been handling that. At Ledger's Corners, they come back that she's not been properly trained. There's something that needed to be calibrated, and Martha didn't know how to do that. There's actually some equipment malfunctions in there, trying to get a hold of a company that's out of Illinois, having a hard time getting them to come here and respond. But I've been given a notice of a conference on August 23rd at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to appear at the Health Department's office in regards to these things. I've contacted Liz Tedford. She's willing to go along with me and, help representing the town, in regards to what the Health Department wants to do, possible fines, all that kind of stuff. She says normally it's just the first time around, it's the meeting is to say, okay, this is what can happen to you, and then tell us what you're planning on what to do, rectify this. Right.
So Martha does a water test there, she picks up the water,
Yeah.
brings it, sends it to Enzyme or whoever.
Yeah, yeah.
So did that water just end up 4 or 5 hours in a vehicle and they got warmed up and
No.
picked up something?
No, the testing was fine, they're saying she's not been properly trained in that facility. There has been some,
So the water quality was fine.
the water quality's fine. The water quality fine was even in the Shazy Lake Beach, but we maintained our signs over the sinks that say non-potable water, don't drink it.
I thought she was a 2A license. She's not covered underneath that to take care of the system?
But they're saying there's some things that she doesn't know yet. And there is some things that been trying to get this company out of Illinois to come back here and show her, and even get the state of New York to get Kubricki back here with their people or whoever they subcontracted to. Been, you know, we haven't signed off. It's basically, I told them
Is she willing to keep holding on to this, that she wants this
yeah,
position?
yeah, it's had nothing to do with water quality. It's all, that's still good. It's technology and
Technology, I bet you.
Because we still got Bruce Bowen out in the midst that's looking for, he's got all the,
yeah, she's,
just
you know,
to mention.
this is Department of Health justifying in their job. She was doing it in February when we needed her to fill in. They came out, they asked some questions, she couldn't answer them, based on some of the equipment in there. Water quality is good. It's, even at the lake, it's good. It was, the chlorine level was good, but because they issued a boiled water order because we didn't, it wasn't a 1 micron absolute, it was just a 1 micron. And then we had some problems with changing the filters, and Mike Dona was called in, and that was taken care of. And there was a urinal that ran all night, one night, and plugged up all the filters. So, it's being addressed. That's all I just want to let you guys know. You know, I'll go down there, like I said, on August 23rd at 1 o'clock, meet with them. Liz is being brought to basically make sure I keep my mouth shut.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah, so, you know, I should get a thumbs up for taking care of that.
Yeah.
It's not done yet.
Well, I called her right away when I saw that. Because, actually, Liz told me one thing about the beach is that if we run it for 59 days, only open it up for 59 days, we don't even have to worry about any of this. There's something, run it longer than 60 days, and then you've got to make sure the water, the chlorine level and everything's good. Okay. You don't have to worry about potable water if it's only, say, less than 60 days, the beach. So if we open it, and actually this year we're going to be open 63, 64 days. We open it 4 days later next year.
Stay underneath the,
Had a good summer, that's all.
Yeah.
that's what we can get out of it.
Yeah.
Do it for that and then lock the doors and then.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, this whole thing has been a fiasco. Actually,
we're gonna have to do that and, throw a couple porta potties.
what happened with my predecessor was insistent on not doing anything, and what it should have been done is a simple solution would have been to drill a well in there, not put in this system.
What would you do in the winter though, would the water freeze?
No, just winterize it. And all you'd have to have is chlorine. What we've got down there now is filters, a UV system, and chlorine.
Yeah, such a high risk of operation.
Yeah. And you've got 3 levels of filters. 50 micron, I think the next one is the 10 micron, and then it's down to a 1 micron. Then it's the UV system, and then it's the chlorine. It's been, actually the health department is part of the problem. Because they could have just said, they never said to me, they always insisted on this system. And it would have been real simple to drill a well. We put in, between the cost of the equipment, installation, and repairs, I bet you we're pushing $20,000 in the last 3 years.
$7 grand just initial.
Right. And then have situated where we're getting the water out of the lake, farther out and a lot deeper.
Maybe it's up for the future, to look at.
Yeah, move the whole bathroom. And yeah, and the other thing is we provided a portable porta potty, handicapped accessible. It's been down there all summer. So we've gone above and beyond what we need to do in trying to accommodate the health department.
Good.
And to try to rectify, eliminate the boiled water order, the guy from Hubbard's, that owner, the manager or whatever, the operator, he drove his motorcycle up with 2 of them Micron Absolutes the day they were there. But they didn't fit, the ones he brought. All right, any other new business from you guys?
Just a question, 2 questions. What are we paying Bill Donahue?
Right now, he hasn't, he's supposed to put a proposal together,
Okay, Billy, you're same thing? or-
$15 an hour.
Okay, just-
No more than what we're paying,
No, I just,
no, just,
I know, I just,
yeah.
curious.
So that discussion we just did, we don't have to do a motion or anything,
No,
right?
no,
It's just
no.
a discussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, old business, EMF services, town of Dannemora, east. This is primarily why I had to call this meeting, is because of what's going on down there with the village, is getting out of EMS. 3 towns that cover, involved in this is us, Saranac, and Black Brook. And I was supposed to have some information for you guys tonight on the cost of a lawyer that we agreed that we were all gonna hire, but I haven't got any information. He has, the guy that Nick Carter was reaching out to never responded back. But, because the corporation's gonna be formed, and then the corporation will enter into a contract with the 3 towns. But we need to be able to hire a fire district or whatever, guy that's an attorney. So basically what I need to have you guys is permission to move forward in that regards, or, you know, I don't have a lot of information to provide other than, that's one of the first steps we gotta take.
So, but we're gonna fact find first before we move to initial type of proposal though, right? Is there gonna be some fact finding going on?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
there's all that, yeah, there's gonna be, that's part of what the deal of hiring him is to do. You know,
Was it, Bill, was it the first guy that we get a proposal? or was it-
no, it's the second guy, Terry Hannigan.
I went on that proposal, I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
Truthful, he was pretty much straightforward.
Right,
Obviously, we need actually something.
right.
He definitely was,
But we need to enter, well, I need your permission to move forward and enter into a kind of an agreement with the other 2 towns too, in regards to hiring that. I mean, based on the fact that, because we want to hopefully, all 3 towns are meeting tonight. I know Saranac is, Black Brook, and that's why I scheduled it for tonight, so we could possibly get a hold of this lawyer by the end of this week and get a meeting together with him and work out the details of the agreement. And hopefully, well, like I said, I was hoping for some money that possibly.
Well, we need to move forward with coverage because it stops at the dam if the village don't support us.
I know.
Yeah, on that line, there's a bigger break.
Bill and I went to both proposals.
Right, well, the other guy is and we're gonna end up having to hire the same, an attorney for the other end of this town, because Lime Mountain's doing basically the same thing.
Basically.
And it's gonna be town of Saranac and us, and the town of Ellenberg, and that deal. So,
And by these meetings, that's what it looks like it's gonna go down the road. That's,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
become a costly initiative.
What actually was proposed that actually, would make sense would be 1 corporation to cover all 4 of them towns.
All for it, that's.
Now, we had a meeting,
One corporation, one attorney.
yeah, stepping on toes is what
Yeah.
happens there.
Well, why are you stepping on toes? Because it's the management of the money coming in
Exactly,
from the calls.
exactly.
So there's gotta be some sort of brokerage done to understand who gets a percentage of what money's gonna come in from each call, who's getting the calls.
Exactly, and how it's based upon.
Exactly.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, but to get this other end to agree to say, you got the line down corporation already formed. That, ideally, that would be where, you know, the town of Saranac and town of Blackbrook jump on and say, okay, let's just go with this corporation that's already there, instead of forming us another whole separate one.
And every town has an interest in it, I
Not
mean,
changing it.
you know.
All right, so what do you need from us? You just need a motion?
To move forward.
Move
forward,
With the attorney Terry Hare,
yeah. That's if the,
Yeah, no problem with that.
I'll make that motion because
Okay.
I went to the presentation.
All right, that's good.
Seriously,
Yeah, I'll second it.
Bill and I were in both of those meetings.
okay,
Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
We ain't spending any money yet, so
Right.
we a roll call.
Okay.
All right, I got an update for you, Cheesy Lake Dam. I gotta use my phone to read all this update. I sent out a text to Doug Ferris on August 3rd. 28 days left in the month, I wrote. Town of Dannemora wants the actual date this work will start. There's a signed agreement. You have been paid $10,000, half the agreement. I put down, I expect an actual date before Monday, August 6th. Well, and this is not an unreasonable request, let me know. He wrote back, I have 2 subs I'm trying to nail down, a dry one and a wet one, and I'm on it. And I got a response from him not until August 7th, the phone is alive again, something to land contractor ready for next week, working on the dive team. So then I wrote back to him on Tuesday. A board meeting next Monday at 7 PM. If you don't have a firm schedule by then, you can either come and explain to the full board why, or we can just cancel our contract with you.
That is perfect.
Let me know what you want to do. Business is business. And quite frankly, I've stuck out my neck based on your word, but I feel you're not meeting your end of this at this point. Time to walk the walk, Doug.
I think he really needs to come to this board and explain what he's gonna do with that gate. Because I'll tell you what, I look at that gate, I think if he pulls that gate
Joey,
and doesn't know how to
here's your answer.
maintenance the gate, we're in
Listen.
trouble.
Listen.
I'm fine with that.
My ground guys are cooperating with me, but my lead diver is being too non-committal. He's tied up in a job at Livingston Harbor. We're not giving proper treatment where he's putting us first. So I can't go forward with it. I'm sorry that I screwed you. And,
Oh, boy, you sort of used the word that was not appropriate, but put it in the minutes. But there it is. Looks like it goes on for about another minute.
You know, I don't know how the rest of you feel, but I'm more relaxed with that than having him pull that gate. And to me, that gate all it needs is maintenance. Doesn't need repair, needs maintenance.
Well,
I think we're gonna be in worse trouble if he pulls that gate and puts a new one in and doesn't know how to make sure that gate is installed properly.
so now we're down, but, okay, he's out of the picture. He's got, actually, he proceeded to say he got the check, he hasn't even, never opened the envelope, he's sending it back. Apologizes a couple more times, so, but where do we go from now? Do we go back to Hunt Underwater Specialties?
Or they,
They did the work on the
Yeah.
gate.
There's done the work on the dam.
Actually, they replaced
Trash racks.
replaced and repaired a lot of the gate. They know the gate very, very well.
Yeah.
They've taken all the video footage of the gates. Well, I think, you know where we got in trouble with Hunt? Is that we didn't get a scope of work or a contract done with Hunt.
No, they slammed us with big money.
Yeah, so I think we do ask Hunt to come back up, but with a scope of work prior to approval for the work being performed.
Getting late in the year too, though.
I think all that gate needs is some lube, Other two are dry.
Scope of the work and a contract to do the work.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know how the rest of you guys feel.
Well, that's fine.
Why not try that?
You just-
I mean,
yeah.
it seems like you're going to get,
You know, get an idea what they're gonna do and how much it's gonna cost us.
well, of course, because otherwise it's overpriced
Right.
for what?
Well, they were always overpriced.
Well, I mean,
Jim-
now it's going to.
Jim is right, they definitely saw it coming, and they stuck it to us, there's no doubt about it, but this time, let's have a little more governance on our part, and say, okay, please inspect a gate, what needs to be done, what are you gonna do,
And what's
I'm
gonna
gonna do it,
cost us?
what's it gonna cost?
You know, we've already had somebody come and look at it, so what do you tell us you're gonna do?
That's realistic. I mean,
Okay, so we'll get ahold of, specialties to, underwater specialists. All right,
So who's making,
we don't need a motion.
No, I'm just gonna
No, we have one aboard the mission and. Okay, any other old business that you guys got? All right, motion to pay the following bills out of cycle. Need a motion to pay C&E fencing, $13,510.
that's where I'll pick up
We
all
can-
that stuff.
yeah.
Yes, for the fencing, the gates, repair of the tennis court in Lime Mountain, the three gates up on town property in Lime Mountain. KTF Enterprises, 2,600, that's for Bill Donahue's grant writing. Vermont Tennis Court Servicing, $1,376. What?
No, it's more than that, Bill.
Yeah,
It's like 13,000.
more than that too.
Yeah, because it's in with the bills, they're right there in front of you. She got the number wrong.
Yes, she does.
They're over there, Bill's got it.
which one is?
Vermont Tennis Court Service.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's for 18,000, she forgot the 8.
Yep, 18,300.
$376. That's for the pickleball courts that were surfaced.
Right.
Tedford Consulting was $2,400, that's Liz Tedford. So, I think we can,
Put them all in one motion,
go
right?
on one motion, yes.
Yeah, I'll make the motion, we pay all those following bills out of cycle.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, Joe,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Joey,
Yes.
Steve, Bill, yes. So, motion carried, pay all the bills. Okay, motion to transfer $50,000 from general fund to the capital fund as stated in 2018 budget.
What you should do, I apologize, talking to Diane, you should make a note in the minutes that the agenda for Vermont Tennis Court Service
Yeah, I did change it.
was wrong,
Yeah.
and that the new number reflects. Okay,
18,376.
okay.
Yeah, I changed to 18,376, and I crossed out the 1,000. Is that okay? Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's reflected.
Okay, so I'll make this motion to transfer the $50,000 that we've got in our general fund budget into the capital fund.
That's a budget line item anyway, right?
We're just moving it
Yeah.
onto the,
I'll second it.
roll call vote, Joe,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Joey,
Yes.
Steve,
yes.
and Bill, yes. Public comments?
Nothing?
Nothing? Okay, we need to make a motion to go into executive session about, talk about an employee. I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, do I make?
Yeah. Motion by Bill, personnel matter,
In a time.
and time is at
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock already?
So, and what do you call it, a special meeting?
Exhibit.
Executive.
Executive session.